Hello, everybody, welcome. Rosie Corina, psych investigators.
Hello, everybody.
Hi,
Hello.
guys. So first of all, I wanted to say, I was mentioned something about yesterday's video that I was really tired. I feel much more rested now. But as you know, I always change. We experiment with formats, and I enjoy doing the other format. But I had this really interesting experience. Also, Quinn and I talked about it earlier. That sometimes it's good to stay
Excuse me.
away from the news. That you can read the news and then step away from it because the weight of it. There is a real like debris, is how you could say that about engaging with that content. And so
Right.
today, Karina and I, because Karina and I, of course, we've been doing this since November of 2024 together. And then Karina has always been very much, uh, it's not that you're not into the news, Arcana. It's more like it's that it has to be detached. It has to be not exactly about this piece of thing or that piece of thing. So that is
Right.
helpful for me to learn from her too. Karina, right? Like because
Right.
because sometimes when you're a very heady person like me, you can get very almost like a manic attachment to specifics. Like, oh my
Yeah.
God, how? And that is, I got this message today that is not, it's when you just engage with that and stop attaching, you give a lot of energy to that, and that's not what we want, right?
Right.
So, Quinn and I were talking earlier without the camera on for a long time. And I even told Karina, I was like, I didn't have my makeup on, I put my makeup because I was gonna, it's fun to do it now. So I was gonna talk to you guys like this at first. And then what Quinn and I are gonna do is we're going to just start kind of like a topic of conversation. And when we start the topic of conversation, I'm gonna turn off my camera because I realized too that it's better to do that without the camera. And it's not that I care really about what people think. People used to be like, because there's always someone picking on something. It's like, oh, you're not paying attention to what she's saying. But it's really the opposite. Is that in order for the conversation to flow, you have to be really relaxed. And it may mean, looking to the right or to the left or whatever. It's not like a job interview, right?
Right.
So it's the more intense things
Somebody else
get.
would have a
Go ahead.
conversation with one of their friends,
That's right.
how
That's
they would
right.
talk on the phone.
Yeah, no
So,
one's like, uh, you know,
yeah,
it's
exactly.
like,
You're not listening to me,
yeah,
Rosie. You're not
yeah.
paying attention.
So, but really, I think as the more intense things get, the more important it is to detach and to be relaxed. And I think that's what we're gonna do today. Okay,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So, and also it's interesting because I started doing this on when I do personal readings on Zoom. I have a conversation with a person while we're discussing the topics, the questions, I'm writing down the questions. But once I start, I turn off the camera because it is much more. It's like the weight is like the weight of quote unquote interaction. Like you have to be on. It's
Right.
more, but you need to focus not on the interaction, but on the information, right?
Exactly.
So that is important. So okay, so let's start. Let's do the protection. I'd like to ask for protection. A beautiful ray of light coming on top of my head as I breathe in. I feel my lungs as I breathe out. A greater circle, a greater circle. I step into it. I step into it. I feel protected. I feel connected. I like to ask that information come only from the highest sources. That I create the good and the good, and so it is. Okay, so now I'm going to just write here, Corinne. I think we can just write the topic because that will help me even when I create the
Mhm.
timestamps to just find the apps. Okay, to just put this on the very top. Okay, so let's see the top. So Corinne, we're gonna talk about Leonard Leo, right?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Right? Or if there's
Yeah.
another topic that you want to talk about,
I
go ahead.
no. Let's start with him. He's the one that came up
Okay,
for me a little
so
while ago, and he came up for you last night.
mhm. Okay, so all right, so Leonard Leo. Okay, all right. So as we discussed, I'm just gonna turn off the camera because it is more relaxing, I think, in a way with the information comes through.
Right.
Okay, all right. So I'm gonna do that. All right. So okay, so Karina, so So now so how his name came up today. Corinne and I were talking, and I talked to her about uh, the information that was on the news about the Supreme Court and how they had done two things that were objectively not good. One is to end the birthright citizenship in some cases, and the other is that they allowed the for these like they wanted to stop these judges from doing injunctions on Trump's orders. And of course, objectively speaking, it feels very authoritarian, right, to do something like this. I had
Right.
discussed this with somebody else earlier today about this, what it means, right? Whether
Mm-hmm.
the Supreme Court would continue to side with Trump or not. And I got that that's their goal. That's their agenda. Those people we know, they may have moments when they don't follow it, but it's not a secret for us, right? What
Right.
they are about. So was part one. And then part two was that eventually I did see that I asked for this other person, would the Supreme Court enable, like, find ways to keep Trump in power indefinitely? And it said, I got the information that it would continue, but it would, I saw this image of Trump being pushed out. So that would not be enough, in other words, right, to keep him in
Right.
power. So then Corina she started talking about Leonard Leo, because I remember Corina, right? When was it that a while back,
It was a couple weeks ago,
that's right.
actually.
Tell us. Go ahead.
Well, and I was just actually having a conversation with somebody myself, and
Mhm.
we were talking about the Supreme Court, and for some reason, Leonard Leo kept coming up
Mhm.
all day to me that day. And I wasn't sure why, because I don't usually pick up on guys like that, stuff like that. But it kept coming to my forefront in my mind.
Mhm.
So there was something that going on there. So the next time I had talked to Rosie, I had told her, I keep getting this Leonard Leo. Why? Because I know he's part of the Federalist Society, but I don't know that much about him other than that part, really.
Mhm. Mhm.
So you and I had kind of looked at it, and I know usually when I tell Rosie these stories, she processes the information and we go from there. And so you had looked at it and you got the hand across the throat like they were going to cut his head off.
Oh, that's right.
And
Because remember, that's right. Recently, Trump was
yes,
attacking him for
yes,
some reason
that's
that we
right.
don't.
That's
That's
what it
right.
was. We were talking about that instance that Trump
Mhm.
was attacking Leonard Leo. And it was like, ooh, wrong guy to
Mhm.
attack.
Mhm.
That's the wrong guy because
Mhm.
he's part of the Supreme Court. And, you know, that's where I see separation between the Supreme Court, Putin, that kind of thing. I'm sure there's some control there, but honestly, the Federalist Society always comes up to me for me that they're the ones that really ruled that, especially Leonard Leo.
Mm.
So from there, if you have any more information, but that's how we kind of came up with all that.
Okay, so just to clarify here, so you're saying that they don't necessarily follow our orders? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah,
They don't
exactly.
follow what? Okay, I
I
see.
feel like they follow the Federalist Society
All
order.
right. Okay. So, so then he also, that's what I was remembering. So when I first started talking to Karina today, she was saying that she had watched my video from yesterday where I was tired. She said, "Oh no, it made me feel good. I know you were tired. Things still feel right." And then she mentioned him because in the first article related to the election, they took a screenshot of the ProPublica article about Leonard Leo and how he bought that company. Or I'm sorry, it was given to him in an inheritance
Right.
situation that he sold it. So that's how he's also connected to the election. So okay,
Mm-hmm.
so now we get to this, a couple forks in the road here. So okay, let's ask like this, Quina. I'm gonna go back for myself back on camera. Here,
Okay.
learn earlier and SCOTUS. Okay, so Leonard Leo, what is the relationship that he has now, or relationship ownership? I don't know, of the current Supreme Court. tell us, like, so that's the question. Then I'm gonna turn it off again. So
Okay.
let's look into the question of like even those rulings today, the birthright citizenship and the other thing about the injunctions. What is his role in this? Okay, so all right, so let's see. Okay. Okay. So
Yeah.
I have actually quite interesting. This it's not exactly the answer that I was expecting or thought would come up. So I see him standing and then using his feet. You know, when people have motorcycles, they have
Mm-hmm.
to get the thing to run.
Mm-hmm.
And he's trying to do that, but it doesn't accelerate. And then it showed me that what's happening is that there's three different groups that are in power and also fighting each other for power. One is the is Russia and Putin and the direct connections, people that are directly connected to him, to Putin and Russia in the US. The second group is Leonard Leo and the far right Christians,
Mm-hmm.
like Kavanaugh and then Mike Johnson, those types of people.
Right.
And the other one is the tech bros, like Peter Thiel and Elon Musk
Yes.
and
Yeah.
David Sachs. So these are three groups that are sort of working together, but there's a lot of infighting. And
Mm-hmm.
I see that he's very angry that he agreed to give Trump power, but now Trump is giving power to the Russia group and part of it to the tech bros. And he doesn't want that. He's really upset at
Mm-hmm.
how this is going. So that's what I got about.
Mm-hmm.
But then let's go to the. I didn't get the. So what about the ruling of today? How does he feel about these rulings? He's not happy. I see. Interesting. I think he feels like it was a mistake to give him too much power. That's what I'm
Mm-hmm.
getting
Mm-hmm.
because he's not doing his part of the deal. He's not helping us in the
Right.
ways we wanted him to. That's what I'm getting. Okay,
Yeah.
so
Yeah. It was saying I saw that he, they really can't. They gave him the power, and they're kind of sorry about it because he's not listening to them, and they should know better. He's not the kind of guy that listens to anybody but himself. Serves himself every time. So that is frustrating, and he does like that he is doing certain things. So for me, it showed him he's not happy with any of this, but he's biding his time until the right moment to say, get rid of him. Because Trump will try to push it too far and take away their powers as the Supreme Court. Why would he want a Supreme Court
I
to
see
get
what you're
his
saying.
way?
Okay.
So at some point, it's kind of like the military. At some point, he pushes them too far. Trump always does that. He always pushes everybody too far.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, he's going to have to push. He's going to push Leo too far, Leonard Leo, and he's going to take away some of those powers, if
Okay.
not all of
So
them.
okay. All right. So but I still do you still I don't see okay, I guess going back to the earlier question, I don't see the Supreme Court playing a role in removing Trump. Do you?
Mm-mm.
No,
No,
right?
I
No,
don't.
I don't either. Okay. Yeah. So
No.
okay. So that's clear. So so the ruling that happened today, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see, go back here, just gonna change the text. So today's ruling. Okay, today's how uh how that impacts going forward. So how that impacts, because it's bringing me back, Corina, going
Yeah.
forward. It's bringing me back to the vision I had earlier today. I was telling you about the military, like seeing this development and being just like we are, like whoa, whoa, whoa. That
Yeah.
they could have thought that something else was gonna, but they're like, no, it's getting worse. And then in a way, by getting worse, eventually the power it it will put us all in a corner where something will have to be done. And I
Right.
don't feel like the protests are going to be lessened. I don't think that people are going to stop,
Mm-mm.
but it will be pushed to a corner where then suddenly he's going to feel more and more confident, and he's going to do something that will lead to his dismissal. That's what I, not
Yeah.
dismissal, whatever the word is. Right.
Demise.
So demise. Yeah. So, okay. So, okay. So let's see, how will this impact? I would say it makes him feel even more bold and crazy. And
Mm-hmm.
he starts lashing out more and more. And it's like it makes him feel like, of course I'm right. Of course I could do whatever I want.
Right.
Anybody who doesn't believe that is full of it. And
Yeah.
so interesting.
It gets a little bit more bold and a little more erratic, a little more
Yes,
on what
yes.
he asks for, what he
Wow,
pushes to
wow.
do.
Mm-hmm,
You know,
mm-hmm.
it's
Wow,
just him. It's just constant push.
wow. Yes, yes. And then I see, wow, then I see this wall of steel that to me looks like a military facility. I mean, it's not literal. It's just saying that he goes, finally, he had some metal wall that will prevent him from doing what he wants to do.
Right.
So that's another,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
wow. Yeah.
It's just a
So,
matter of time. I know. That's the hard
mhm,
part, the timing.
mhm. Wow. Yeah. So, okay, let's see. Okay, so that's that part. What else going on? Do we what were we talking about earlier? Um,
And sadly, the craziness isn't going to stop until
mhm, mhm.
he's stopped.
Yes, yes, yes. So, all right, just okay, guys. So now, I turn on the camera again because I go through, periods. I'm like, okay, let's see here. Okay. So, this is like I wanted to have the camera on because I don't know why I was doing before that it wasn't showing. I could just see here. Okay, all right. So complicated. Long story. Anyway, so something that came up uh, as we were talking earlier today is
Hmm.
that so Corina, I'm just gonna give an introduction and then you talk more at length about your eye issue with her. So Corina's
Okay.
been working on a lot on her computer for months now, and it's exhausting. And she's even going to the eye doctor. Maybe she needs to do a procedure. They don't know yet. But I've also, as you saw yesterday, feeling really tired, and it always happens to me when I engage a lot with the actual news because yesterday and recently I read a lot, right? Yesterday I read the whole thing because I think in a way people need to know information, especially those articles related to the election. But at the same time, when we engage too much, so I saw like so Corinne and I decided to send we're sending each other the energy while we talk before
Right.
we and I picked up YouTube and like this incredible amount of like dust, like debris on the third eye from the psychic weight of all the stuff that's out there related to this trash administration.
Hmm.
And as you and it's an interesting paradox because on the one hand I am it's part of my channel, right? I engage with the news and I share an insight into the actual news and then insights into what's going on behind it. But at the same time, there is this moment when you have to step back and just keep it very broad so that you're not literally contaminated because it is so toxic. The energy of
Hmm.
what's going on that you have to step away so that they don't take down our power, right? Because today, when I saw the headlines, I was like, wow, is it over? Is it like, no, that's not my thoughts. These are their thoughts. That's what they want us to think. We can't,
Right.
we cannot. never disengage. We stand always in the light. And that's the message you were getting too, Karina, right? Today that you said that right, tell us more. You tell us this, the part of the story. Your part of the story.
Well, for today,
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you what I saw today, and then I'll go back to the eye issue if that's
Mm-hmm.
so. It was today. It was like the more we engage in this, they pull us back down away from our own visions, what
Mm-hmm.
we see so clearly, what we feel. And what came in was when you do engage,
Mm-hmm.
you tend to open the door, the welcome door as well.
Mm-hmm.
So because you're almost inviting the energy in because you're looking at it, because you're interacting with it, you're engaging in it. So it is a big challenge for us. And for me, I tend to feel energy as you all know. So I have to be so careful. I pick up so much. And honestly, this eye issue is a lot of what I've been dealing with. And one of the reasons why my website has been getting delayed here and there because I can't see. my I've had this issue in my eye where I was working so hard on the computer that I caused a bleeding behind my eye. And I probably will have to go end up on Tuesday getting some surgery, or they might tell me yes or no. We'll get it that day, maybe another day. I'm not quite sure yet, but it has become an actual issue. And a lot of times my actual issues are because of a psychic reaction or a spiritual
Mm-hmm.
reaction, right, Rosie?
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of times we use my body as a barometer what the heck's going on in this world
Mm-hmm.
because it will come through my body.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I remember, do you remember a couple weeks back, I even said, Rosie, I might be having this eye issue because we're about to see a lot of stuff and and I felt like my eyes were clogged and everything. So it has been coming through me.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's one of the reasons why I tend not to engage in the news a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I'm happy to be here with Rosie too, but sometimes when I'm on, we have to do a lighter version because
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
this is what happens to me. It
Mm-hmm.
becomes an
Mm-hmm.
issue in
Mm-hmm.
my
Mm-hmm.
body.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's
here
right.
we are.
And I think I was also saying this to Karina that when I look at the news, particularly the way my brain is like how, and when we start asking that question too much, we give in to that. Like we may not know how. It may be completely unknown to us the how because it
Right.
has never happened before.
It
So
is.
it's saying it's important that you stick to the vision and trust it and don't question it.
Right.
Not that I question the vision, but it's like the how. The vision is very clear, and we are not. We still
Right.
see Kamala. We still see him leaving, but it's not.
No. And
I,
honestly, sometimes picking up the bigger picture is easier on me and my body.
mm-hmm,
And a
mm-hmm,
lot of times when, I'll say when Rosie and I first started working together and she'd ask me questions, I'd be like, Rosie, I don't know, I'm not psychic. But it was only because I felt like Rosie gets such detail and I get the bigger picture. But I understand now why I get the bigger picture because my body physically cannot handle the details
mm-hmm,
because
mm-hmm,
it's a feeling. I am not weak by any means. I'm probably one of the strongest people you'd ever meet for all the
mm-hmm,
crap that I've been through.
mm-hmm,
But my physical body will react
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
and put me in a state of trauma. So I can't
mm-hmm,
do it.
mm-hmm. Right, 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 right. So let's ask here, Brenda, also, what can we do to like, I guess what, I guess also I'm asking a question about the viewers. What is the best, like, we see all of this stuff, it sounds so dire. How to
I did
handle, go ahead, go ahead,
I did
Brenda.
get that a little message earlier too. So let me
Go
say
ahead.
that. And
Mm-hmm,
then so I did get to watch Rosie's video last night, and
mm-hmm.
she knows a lot of times I don't watch them only because I can't handle
That's
the
right.
news.
Mm-hmm,
And Rosie's okay with that. But I did watch last night, and I did get some really good feelings about it watching it.
mm-hmm,
But I did want to say one thing I did pick up from Spirit. They were telling me, please pass this along.
Mm-hmm.
to, especially to the people that
Mm-hmm.
consider themselves to be the light workers, whatever you can do. I just heard this screaming, tell people just to get in the light and just focus their minds on truth.
Mm-hmm.
Truth, 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 truth. That's all I kept hearing over and
Mm-hmm.
over. Sit in the stream of truth going out into the universe, penetrating everything. Picture it, that ripple in the pond, the frogs sitting there. Get that vision and word of truth out into the ethers, the
Mm-hmm.
atmosphere, and let it start penetrating
Mm-hmm.
everything.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that's what you can do as for humanity right now. All of us sit
Mm-hmm.
in the space of truth.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we need. That
Mm-hmm.
is the thing we need.
Mm-hmm.
We
Mm-hmm.
need this all to come out,
Okay.
the truth to be shown.
Mm-hmm.
That's the biggest benefit you can do right now.
Okay. That's right. That's right. We say that in a way, this is not that we're denying what the news are saying, but it's saying you have to see the world as you want it to be. Does it make sense? And also let this divisions crystallize further and further, because I think it's all this. If it's like we're in a way in an information warfare on
Mhm.
top of it being this fascist government,
Right.
whatever. So we have to give strength and attention to the things that we want and that we see, really.
Exactly.
So, okay.
I'm not
Yeah.
going to let
Yeah.
somebody steal my truth.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's right.
I'm
That's right.
sorry, that's my truth.
Mm-hmm.
And I know it's true. I
Mm-hmm.
know they
Mm-hmm.
stole the election. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm not okay with accepting that.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
will never
Right.
be okay with it. And I will
Mm-hmm.
not accept it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right. Right. So very interesting. No, really, very interesting. Very
Hmm.
interesting, Karina. So,
It was good information.
yeah. Yeah. So that's why I keep holding Kamala in light. And it's saying you can never give them the power that they think they have. Does that make sense? It's like
Right.
you give the greatest power, the only power is the light, and see them as temporary, as as uh right as
Yep.
inconsequential, even though they have a lot of power, they're doing things that are consequential. It will collapse. Okay.
Right.
So I have a question, Karina, just since we're talking about this. So does this mean, since we're talking about the whole SCOTUS, okay, so SCOTUS, uh, when Trump goes down, does it mean that that these SCOTUS rulings will be nullified eventually? Okay, does it make sense what I'm saying, Karina?
Mhm.
Because
Yes.
if it's proven that his government it's like a treason or whatever that is, like it's invalidated essentially. Will it be
Right.
because it was all his orders? Yes, because everything
Hmm.
have to erase, delete, everything is done and start from there. Okay, so yeah, and I see interesting. I see way in the future. I don't know when down the line saying that we're going to have a rule, and I guess in the Constitution, if the person is a traitor, everything they do will be nullified. I mean, we'll do that and make that a law.
Right. Right. Yeah.
But
And,
well,
and I don't see any of the members that are there. Most of the ones I see in my mind's eye are gone.
mm. No, I saw AOC actually. AOC
Yeah.
being in Congress or whatever, like doing that. So
Yes.
interesting. Interesting.
It'll change our Supreme Court, which it
Mm-hmm.
needs to change.
Mm-hmm.
That's why
Yes, yes.
we're going through this. This needs to
Mm-hmm.
change.
Mm-hmm. Wow, wow, very interesting. Interesting. Okay,
Mhm.
so yeah, is that a current for today? Like, I think it is, right? For now. Are you there? Can you hear
I
me?
think that is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Sorry, you paused
That's
for a
okay.
second.
That's okay. It's
Yes.
okay. Yeah. No, that's good. Okay, so have a good Friday, guys. Enjoy your Friday. And
Yeah.
see you tomorrow. Okay?
Have a good Friday.
All
Bye,
right.
everybody.
Bye, bye, bye.